Yes, in my personal opinion. And what about sentence D? Yes, it's despite this. Well done. So we've got lots of different signpost phrases and they do different jobs. Look at A, in the end. This phrase helps us to sequence the ideas. First, second, in the end. So A matches to number three. A matches number three. We are sequencing. I'd like you to look at C and D and match the signpost word to the different ways that we use the signpost words. Please type the matches into the chat box. Okay, very good. 10 seconds, everybody, to try and match. Okay, let's check together. Well, in the end is sequencing. This is number three. In particular, make something stronger. So this is emphasizing. It's number four. In my personal opinion, tells the listener that the next piece of information is an opinion. So we are showing the type of information. This is number one. And despite this, is connecting two pieces of information. It was too cold to play outside. The result was surprising. We still played in the snow. So this information is surprising or opposite information. These are just some examples of how we use signposting phrases. If we don't use signposting, it's very difficult to understand what the speaker means when they're talking. Let's look at how important it is to use signposting. This is a man speaking about his wedding day. He's talking about his wedding day. And he says, both families wanted to talk to people from the other family. Me and my wife's family are very close. Let's think about what he means. Look at A to D. What does this speaker mean about the wedding day? If you think they are all true, you can choose E. If you don't know the answer, you can choose F. Tell me in the chat box, please. Okay, well, the answer is F. We don't know. The speaker did not use any signposting, so we don't know what he means. We need signposting to understand what he means. Let's put some signposting into his speech. Now, what I loved was that both families wanted to talk to people from the other family, which is why me and my wife's his oh, well, and effect are in the wrong order in C. A are true. We need signposting phrases to understand what a speaker means. Sometimes we call these discourse markers. They are essential. If you do not use them, you cannot get a high score in the fluency and coherence category for speaking. We need them to make the speaking logical and easy to follow for the listener. So you need to learn a range of different discourse markers and practice using them in your speaking. Let's look at another example from a real question now. I'm going to read part of a speaking part 2 answer. When you hear a discourse marker, a signposting word, I want you to type it in the chat box. So listen, hear the signpost phrase, type in the chat box. Okay. This answer is about an influential person in my life. So, I'd like to talk about the person who has influenced me the most in my life. That person is, without a doubt, my grandfather. He's currently 92 years old, and he lives not far from my town. Surprisingly, he's never left this part of the country. He stayed here his whole life. But despite this, he's very open-minded and he knows a lot. That is because he spends so much time reading books and learning about the world. He's also a very sociable person. I can't say for certain, but I reckon he probably knows everyone in the village where he lives. I really feel that he's such an easy person to get along with. Above all, it's his kindness and generosity that I will remember him for. Okay, well done, everybody. You found lots and lots of signpost phrases. Excellent job. Very good. Now I will read again and we'll look at the signpost phrases together. I'd like to talk about the person who has influenced me the most in my life. That person is, without a doubt, my grandfather. He's 92 years old and he lives close to my town. Surprisingly, he's never left this part of the country. He stayed here his whole life. But despite this, he's very open minded and he knows a lot. That is because he spends so much time reading books and learning about the world. I can't say for certain, but I reckon he probably knows everyone in the village where he lives. I really feel that he's such an easy person to get along with. Above all, it's his kindness and generosity that I will remember him for. These are some of the discourse markers from the answer that I just read. They all have different jobs. Some discourse markers give opinions. Some compare and contrast, like but. Some show that we're not sure about something. Some give reasons. Some emphasize things. And some discourse markers tell the listener how they should feel about information. For example, unfortunately. If we look at this one, without a doubt, it is emphasizing. It makes this information stronger than the other information. I would like you to think at home. Do not type in the chat box. Do not. Just think at home. What is the job of these discourse markers? What job do they do? You have 30 seconds to think about the job of the different phrases. Okay, everybody, let's have a look together. I really feel that is giving my opinion. Despite this is contrasting or comparing information. I can't say for certain, and I reckon shows that we are not sure, we are not certain about something. That is because gives the reason for something. Above all, emphasizes something. It makes it more important. And surprisingly, tells the listener that they should feel surprised. The listener should feel surprised about this information. These are all different types of discourse markers. There are many types. We need to learn them and we need to use them in our speaking to make our speaking logical. But I see a question about really, is it too informal? Well, the speaking test is an informal speaking situation. It is not a formal situation. So we need to use informal discourse markers, informal signposting words. We do not need to use formal words that we use in our essays. For example, my laptop has a bag. Consequently, I can take it with me everywhere. Consequently is too formal. It's for essays, not for speaking. How can we change this word, everybody? Can we change to a less formal discourse marker? That is why. Very good. That's nice. Okay, these are good. Yeah, these are good. And so this means that is why. Perfect. Well done. The restaurant is really comfortable. Furthermore, the staff are very friendly. It's too formal. Can we think of a less formal linking word? Moreover is very formal. That's for essays, not for speaking. Yeah, we could just say also, what is more? Or we could put to at the end of the sentence. The staff are very friendly too. Finally, my oldest brother is a very serious person. In contrast, I'm always joking around. Can we use a less formal phrase here? On the other hand is really nice. I like that. Yeah, that's really good. Unlike me is good as well. Yeah. Yeah, we could say whereas, but remember that however is more formal than but. So however is usually better in writing, not in speaking. So remember, guys, the speaking test should be informal. Try to use informal vocabulary and informal discourse markers. If you use one or two more formal linking words, it's not a problem. But if all of your speech sounds formal, then it's the wrong style. So you will lose marks for this. Okay. Liao, I think while is fine. It's the same as whereas. It's neutral. We can use it in formal and informal. Okay, well done, everybody. Let's have a break for 2 minutes. If you have a question, you can type a question in the chat box now. And while you do that, let me give you the link for the GEL IELTS website one more time. If you missed the introduction to the class, don't worry. Check out the website on the screen now, and you can follow the link in the chat box. You can learn all about GEL IELTS, and if you want to sign up today, we will be very happy to help you improve your IELTS skills. Walied is nevertheless formal. Walied, yes, it's quite formal, nevertheless. Yeah. It's better for essays, definitely. Sied, can we use gonna instead of going to? No problem. Speaking is informal, so gonna is perfect. That's an informal way of saying going to. So good. That's good for the speaking test. To lean, yes. Hence, therefore, nevertheless, perfect for essays, not very good for the speaking test. Sergey, we can't say I admire about. The verb admire does not have a preposition. We say I admire something. There's no preposition with this verb. Okay, the question about accents. Somebody here says they're Scottish and they're worried about their accent in the exam. It doesn't matter. For pronunciation, you are marked on can we understand you? If your accent is very strong and it cannot be understood, that is a problem. But if you have a normal accent, a Scottish accent, an Indian accent, any type of accent, if we can understand you, if you link the sounds correctly, you can still get high marks. So don't worry about accent. Okay, everybody, let's move on to the second part of the class. We're going to talk about how to prepare for speaking part two. In speaking part two, you speak on your own. It's not a conversation, it's one person, you, the student, speaking. And you need to speak for about 1 to 2 minutes. To get a good mark, you must speak for more than 90 seconds. You will be given a card by the examiner, and the card has 4 points on it. You must talk about all of the points on the cue card, all of them. The topic on the cue card will not be an academic topic. It will be about your life, your experience, and your knowledge. This makes it easy to think of examples. For example, an object that you have, a place you have visited, a special event that you remember. They are all about you. They are not general, abstract academic topics. The speaking test is informal. There is no difference between academic IELTS and general IELTS for the speaking test. The test is the same. It should be informal for all speaking tests. You have 1 minute to make a plan before you start speaking, and at the end of your speech, the examiner will ask you a question based on the information in your talk. This is the format of part 2 speaking. Let's think about preparing. The first thing we need to do is look at the cue card and find the 4 things that we need to talk about. Here is our cue card. Let's read together. Today's topic is to describe a gift you have given to someone. And there are 4 things we need to do. Number 1, we need to say who we gave the gift to. Number 2, we need to say what the gift was. Number 3, we need to say how this gift compared to other gifts that we have given in the past. And number 4, very important, we need to explain why we chose this particular gift. There are always 4 points. You must talk about all of them to get a good mark in the speaking test. Okay, now we understand the card. We know the 4 points. Now we need to make notes. True or false, everybody? You have 1 minute to make notes before you speak. True or false? It is true. Yes, I told you this on the previous page. You have 1 minute to make notes. Your notes should be full sentences. True or false? This one is definitely false. You do not have enough time to write full sentences. Also, if you write sentences, you will be reading. You will not be speaking. Your speaking must be natural. Do not read sentences from your notes. Your notes should give you ideas what to say next. True or false? Correct. This is true. This is the reason why we make notes. If we do not make notes, we don't know what to say next, and we will hesitate. If we hesitate and stop speaking for a while, we can lose marks. So we need to know what the next idea is. This is why we make notes. Your notes should follow the order of the points on the question card. True or false? Well, it's not necessary to do this. You do not have to follow the same order, but it's a good idea because it saves you time. If you try to change the order, it might take longer. Also, if you change the order, you might forget to mention something during your talk. So it's false, but it's better to keep the same order. It saves time and it avoids missing things out. You should make a list of vocabulary in your notes. True or false? This is false. Do not do this. You do not have enough time to write down a list of vocabulary. You only have 1 minute. Also, if you have vocabulary and you're trying to use one specific word, your speaking will not be natural. Your aim will be to use one word, not to communicate clearly. Speaking should come naturally, not using one specific word. Finally, you will lose marks if you do not write notes. True or false? False, but true. That's the correct answer. Yes. The examiner will not look at your notes. The notes are for you, not the examiner. But remember, if you don't have notes, then you might not know what to say next. If you don't know what to say next, you will hesitate. If you hesitate, you will lose marks. So making notes can result in losing marks. Not making notes can result in losing marks. My advice is always make notes. They help. Even if you're a confident speaker, they will help. Okay, let's have a look now at how to make notes. Here are the 4 different points from the cue card. I need to make notes to help me with my speaking. The person we gave the gift to. Well, the answer to the question is Diego. But this is not enough. I need to speak for longer. I need more information. So I must make extra notes. I've known him since elementary school, and it was his 20th birthday. Notice these are not sentences, these are just notes. But I am giving myself reminders, clues about grammar. Here I used have, known, present perfect. This will help me remember to use the present perfect when I speak for this point. So we can give ourselves clues to grammar in our notes. What was the gift? The answer, a basketball. Not enough. We need more things to talk about. It was signed by Ricky Rubio. This helps me remember to use the passive. I got it from eBay. He loved it. Compared to other gifts. I'm comparing to perfume. Not enough. I need more information. I gave the perfume to Sandra. It was very expensive and I did a lot of research. Just making notes. But remember, I want to use a superlative adjective. So I give myself a clue in my notes. Remember to use a superlative adjective. Why did we choose it? He's obsessed with the NBA. It reminds me to use the past simple. So always answer the question and have extra points for every question on the card. Just answering the question is not going to be enough. You will not speak for long enough. Okay, so here are my notes. Now I need to change my notes into speaking for the answer. Let's have a look at the first question here. What was the gift? This is the first part of the cue card. Here are my notes. And here is my speaking. Is this a good or a bad way to use my notes? Good or bad? Maybe bad? It's definitely a thumbs down, everybody. Yeah. There's no signposting, no linking words, no discourse markers. There's no extra information. There's no interesting vocabulary. And it takes me 10 seconds to read this. Not long enough. We need to speak for more than 10 seconds. Let's put more information and discourse markers into our answer. So, I bought Diego a basketball signed by Ricky Rubio. This is my first note, but I want to extend my answer. Who is a famous basketball player? Extra information, new grammar. We're showing the examiner more grammar and vocabulary. The ball had been signed. We've got this in our notes, but we want extra information. At a match he played for the Spanish national team in 2019. More grammar, more vocabulary, speaking for longer. After searching for a few weeks, a signposting phrase, everybody. Organizing the sequence of events. I bid on eBay. This is in my notes. More information. Although I paid a lot of money for it, I think it was worth it for his reaction. We've used another discourse marker here to show contrast, and we've given extra information. More grammar, more vocabulary. I gave it to him at his party and he loved it. My final note. Actually, discourse marker showing a surprising piece of information. He said it was his favorite gift of the day and he didn't stop smiling. So we have used discourse markers. We've given extra information using new grammar, new vocabulary to extend our answer. Now this answer will take 25 or 30 seconds. This is what we need. The last part here, he didn't stop smiling. This is not true. I lied about this. Of course, he did stop smiling sometime during the day. It doesn't matter. We can tell lies in the speaking test. The examiner will never, ever meet you again. The examiner is not going to check if what you said was true or not. The examiner does not care. The examiner cares about the quality of your English when you speak, not if it's true or not. So if you want to invent some phrases, you can't invent phrases. If you want to invent information, you can invent information. Okay, everybody. There was one question about why we started using so. Veronica asked me, why did you start using so? Well, Veronica, it's natural in English to use a filler word at the beginning when we start talking. Something like, okay, so, right. This is normal when we start speaking. Then we introduce the topic. I'm going to tell you about. I'd like to talk about. Finally, we need to paraphrase the topic. The topic is here in the question. Look at A, B, and C. Which one is the best paraphrase of the topic for this question? Is it A, B, or C? It's definitely C, everybody. Yeah, we've paraphrased and given more information. A present is a synonym for a gift. To get something for someone is a synonym for give something to someone. And then we gave extra information. So C is the best. B is good, but we don't extend. And A is not good because it copies the same words from the question. Try not to copy words from the question. Your job is to show the examiner what language you have. Everybody can copy, so it doesn't prove anything. So we use all of these together to begin our answer. So I'm going to tell you about a present which I got for my friend Diego for his 20th birthday last year. The perfect way to begin your answer. Right. I'd like to talk about a present which I got for my friend Diego for his 20th birthday last year. Another very good way to begin your answer. Yes, Arlette, you can also use well here as a filler. Yeah. Okay, everybody, well done. That's the end of the class today. Thank you very, very much for your answers in the class. I would like to get some feedback from you about this class. Please could you look at the poll question in Zoom now and tell me how useful was this class for you, everybody. Please, thank you for your feedback. I appreciate it. It helps us to improve. Now let me show you the website so you can see where to do more practice later today. On the screen now is the British Council IELTS Ready Premium website. If you want to come to more classes, you can look at the next class here. You can click register and then join when the class is starting. Or you can go to the calendar here and look at all of the classes. To register for a class, you click on the left here. If you want to watch the video class, you click Watch on Demand class here, and you can watch the recorded video class. To do more practice on speaking part 2, please go to Guided Skills and choose Speaking. Here you should choose part 2 Speaking, and now you can find today's video class. Watch on Demand class. This is the recorded video class for this topic. You can do training here on planning, things to do and things not to do, and you can do practice of a speaking test here. We also have training on linking words, signpost words, and vocabulary for speaking. Lots of practice here on the website. If you want to ask a question, please click here on the chatbot button in the bottom right corner. Type your question, for example, about capital letters, and the computer will give you answers to the normal questions that we receive. Please read the answers. 90% of questions can be answered by reading the articles here. If you don't find your answer, then you can put your email address here and we will reply to you as soon as possible. British Council students can also upgrade to Gel Prep Flex for free. Go to this website, click register, and then choose the middle option. Set up your account with the same login details as your British Council account. If you're not a British Council student, you can create a PrepFlex account on the left here. Having a PrepFlex account is very useful because extra services available. For example, my computer is going very slowly. Let's wait and see. Will it work? Yes, it's going to work. For example, you can book a tutorial with an IELTS teacher like me. IELTS experts can mark your speaking mock tests and your writing mock tests. You cannot do this on the British Council website. It's not possible. If you want to do these things, you must upgrade to Gel Prep Flex, and then you must buy credits. It costs money for these things because an IELTS professional like me is spending their time to do it. And people like to be paid for their jobs. It costs 1 credit to have your writing marked, 1 credit to have your speaking marked, and 1 credit to have a meeting with an IELTS tutor. If you want to do these things, please upgrade, buy your credits, and then we will be happy to give you all the feedback that you need. Okay, everybody, let's go back to the PowerPoint. I will share the links for this class, and then I will have time to answer maybe 2 questions before we finish. So in the chat box now, you've got the GEL website link, you've got the Facebook link, you've got the schedule for the webinars, and you've got the email address, support@gelielts.com. Send us an email or use the chatbot on the website if you have a question later today. Okay, let's look at questions. Is there any specific length for the answers? No, Islam, there's no specific length, but in part 1, the answers should be medium length. Never very short. Never answer just yes, no, and 1 answer. That's not enough. You need to give extra information, but don't make it very, very long. In part 3 of the speaking test, you can give longer answers. So in part 1, medium answers, part 3, longer answers. What happens if you run out of time? Don't worry. If you run out of time, the examiner will stop you. The examiner will say, stop, and then ask the next question. That's not a problem. But if you've only covered 2 points from the cue card in 2 minutes, this means you did not organize your talk very well. Your task is to cover 4 points in 2 minutes. It's your job to organize your speaking to fit this into the time. So if you only cover 1 or 2 points, you'll lose marks for organization because you didn't plan and organize your speaking well enough. But in general, it's not a problem if the examiner says stop. It's okay. Okay, last question. Let's have a look. If you're panicking about your exam, the best advice I can give you is don't panic. That's the only advice I can give you. Panicking never helps. It never makes things better. Find a way, find a method to relax yourself. When you're relaxed, all your skills will come out naturally. So find a way to relax yourself. Okay, everybody, I have to go now. Thank you very, very much. If you have more questions, remember, message us on the website or send us an email. Take care, everybody. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Cheers.